What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Attic. We're here this week for UFC Fight Night, Strickland versus Hernandez. I don't really have a lot of time today, so I'm just going to try to one-shot this about as quick as I can. Starting off by reviewing last week, we had one Fight Night 40. We went 3 of 4 on this, but unfortunately, Gabriela Fujimoto was a minus 500, and she sold the entire event for us. I ended up losing 3.5 units on this card, which brought our bankroll down to $737.60. After that, we got the weekly bonus, which was a total of $3.65. Pretty good bonus in all honesty. This brought our total up to $741.25 plus the $20 free bet that I got from the Super Bowl contest. 1 unit this week will be $7.61, with 1.5 units coming in at $11.42. All right, let's get right into this week's fights. We'll be starting off in the women's flyweight division with a bout between Juliana Miller and Carly Giudice. We've gone 1-1 betting on fights involving these two for a total loss of just under 1/10 of 1 unit. This time around, all 3 models like Carly Giudice, with one of them being just better than a coin flip. She is a massive minus 700 favorite at the books, so my total risk is going to be 10.5 units. Up next, we'll have Yadier Del Valle versus Jordan Levitt. We've gone 3 for 3 betting on these two, taking Del Valle as a big favorite and a pretty decent underdog, and Levitt as a decent favorite. This time, all 3 models are quite confident in Yadier Del Valle to win. He's a minus 380 favorite at the books, so my bet cost 5.7 units. Third fight will be Jean-Paul Labozniani versus Phil Rowe. I've never bet on Phil Rowe in the past, and that hasn't served me too bad. In total, I'm up 0.7 units with these two. Again, we will not be betting on Phil Rowe in this fight. I've taken Jean-Paul Labozniani at minus 205 for 3.08 units. Next up is Punahele Soriano versus Ramiz Brahimaj. 2 and 3 betting on these two. They've won every single fight that I've wagered on. Not always in my favor, though. In this fight, I'll be betting on Punahele Soriano. All 3 models are right there in the mid-50s, and he's a plus 110 underdog. So this one cost me 1.5 units. The next fight is back in the women's divisions, this time at bantamweight, between Nora Cornell and Jocelyn Edwards. I've never correctly predicted a Nora Cornell fight, and I've never incorrectly predicted a Jocelyn Edwards fight, so something's got to give. This time, I'll again be betting on Jocelyn Edwards, and again, for the 3rd time in a row, she's a minus 300 favorite at the books. The models are not nearly as confident, 2 of them being practically a coin flip. I risked 4.5 units on her to return 1.5 units with a win. Next up is a men's flyweight bout between Alden Correa and Louis Garul. All three of the fights that these two have been involved in, I have bet on that respective fighter. Unfortunately, Louis has come up short as a moderate favorite in both of his fights. Fortunately, Alden was a plus 350 underdog, so I am still in the profit by about a quarter unit. Despite Louis losing his last two fights as a sizable favorite, the models are still pretty confident in him. He's a plus 220 underdog this time, so at least the value seems good. I risked 1 unit to return 2.2 with a win. Next up is Alibi Idris versus Ode Osborne. I've gone 50-50 on Ode fights, one of them being an upset over Louis Garul. This time, I'll be betting on the Alibi Idris as a minus 130 favorite. Two of the three models are significantly more confident in him than that. I ended up risking 1.95 units. After that, we've got Carlos Leal versus Chidi Njokuani at welterweight. I've gone 3 for 4 betting on these two, but I'm still in the negatives because Carlos Leal lost as a minus 500 favorite. Despite that recent loss, the models are still fairly confident in him as a minus 120 favorite. I risked 1.8 units to return 1.5 units with a win. Moving up slightly to middleweight, where Zach Reese will take on Michel Pereira. My record with these two is pretty good at 3-1, only losing when I took Jackson McVeigh as a plus 330 underdog. In total, I'm up 0.82 units on these two fighters. This time around, we're taking Zach Reese as a plus 140 underdog for 1.5 units. This next fight is likely the start of the main card, and it'll be a welterweight matchup between Josiah Harrell and Jacoby Smith. I've got very little wager history for these two, only once taking Jacoby Smith as a massive minus 1,800 favorite. This time around, he's much less of a favorite at only minus 335, but all three models are in agreement here, so I risked 5.03 units. Our next fight will be Ante Delija versus Sergey Spivak. I've got a perfect record when betting on these two for a total of 1.97 units of profit. This time around, I'll be betting on Sergey Spivak as a plus 127 underdog. The wagers are split like this because I'm using some of my free bet on this fight. In total, I risked 1.5 units on Sergey to return 1.91 units with a win. In our feature bout, we've got Melquizael Costa versus Dan Ige. My wager history on these two is pretty good, going 4-2. Both of their records combined left us with a profit of 2.27 units. This time around, the models like Melquizael Costa as a minus 210 favorite, so I bet 3.15 units on him. Our co-main event is a welterweight bout between Uros Medic and Jeff Neal. I've gone 3-0 when betting on these two. twice betting on Euros and once betting against Jeff Neal, all 3 times taking the favorite. This time around, we're changing things up, and I'm betting on the underdog. I took Euros Medic as a plus 165 for 1.5 units. Finally, in our main event, we've got Anthony Hernandez taking on Sean Strickland. Again, I've got a perfect 3-0 record, and it looks just like last time. Taking Anthony Hernandez twice as a favorite and bet against Sean Strickland as an underdog for a total profit of just over 1 unit. All 3 models like Anthony Hernandez here, and he's a minus 300 favorite at the books, so I risked 4.5 units. That's all the fights on this card, so let's have a look at our totals. 14 fights on this card. As is normal with the UFC, I found wagers on every single fight. I took 9 favorites, all 9 of them being agreed upon by all 3 models. The other 5 I took as underdogs, and 4 out of 5 of those were confident predictions. In total, I risked 47.21 units with a potential return of 23.84 units, which would be an ROI of 50.5%. That's all I've got for this week. As always, thank you for watching, and good luck on all of your bets this weekend.